In this video, I'm going to be talking about the simulation creation that we're involved in. That a lot of people are waking up to this possibility that that we're living in a simulation. And of course, there's theories that come from mouths of certain people. Tom Campbell's been talking about. He wrote a book called The Big Toe. There's Elon Musk. He's another one that believes in it. There's quite a few now. Physicists who have been studying quantum mechanics, most of their lives, and that led them to understanding that the visible things we see are not what once was thought to be, so to speak. And those are all theories because they don't have any proof. They don't have any physical proof. And that's what scientists are always examining the physical things. And now they've narrowed it down because of quantum mechanics. They've been observing these particles. They've known about these atoms for many years. And of course, that's all theory too. Everything they think about is theory because every time they dig deeper into it, they find more evidence that the visible images we observe are not what we always thought they were. We always thought this is our true reality, and they are now admitting that is not true, and that what we're looking at is, like Einstein said, this is a grand illusion, he called it. And why did he say an illusion? Because the reality that we believe all this to be real is not real. It's not our true reality. So there was only a few creative minds then. Creative minds of people called prophets. And then later on, the minds of the saints. And it's called, during the time, there's two periods of time where the minds of the saints are being used to process the eternal program thoughts, which is eternal, comes from the eternal creation. And that information teaches us everything our Creator wanted to know. Our Creator wanted us to know about how we're created, what is our mind, how are we able to experience life from nothing but programmed thoughts. How is that possible? And, now I have a full understanding of how that is possible. Oh, this is a beautiful view. So all that stuff out there was made by human hands. Okay? Everything that was built with human hands comes from information, a temporary information called the beast. So the beast is the information that is processed by a created mind, chosen created mind, that forms an images, words, mathematics, measurements, and all kinds of information in the created minds that cannot be seen by anybody unless it's produced into this world with human hands out of earthen materials. So earthen materials are necessary in order to see the images that are formed in the mind. And they're known as false gods in the prophecies of the prophets. So if you're wondering what false gods are, it's everything that humans built. So all that you see out there, the whole city, I was just underneath that communications center for the 92 Olympics. All done by hand. All this is built by humans. All that you see out there. Okay. That is not possible to be observed unless the created mind, the images in the created minds of those who built this stuff goes into storage. Yes, it goes into memory. That's data. And the reason for that is in order for us to observe it, that data has to be processed by our mind, by our individual minds. So the reason I'm able to see all this stuff is because of the stored data from all the people who built this. As their mind, okay, so every builder, everybody who's involved in all this building, experienced themselves working on these projects. All that data was stored. It's all stored in memory. And that is why we're, as a visitor, as somebody coming here as a tourist, their mind is processing that information. So your mind is rendering it as you see it. It renders it, and then you see it. Put it that way. Okay? Now, there's a lot of destruction. You destroy a building, and you put a new stuff in. Well, that old stuff can't be seen by us then, see? Because it's no longer there. It's deleted from the program, from the memory. Totally deleted. Except for in the personal minds of those who, if they're still living today, were involved in building that building that was torn down. They still have personal memory of it. So there's personal memory, then there's memory for all of us to be able to see these images built by human hands. And then there's, of course, the natural information from Satan that forms all the trees and everything in the human body, everything that we see, all the living bodies, that was all comes from Satan. And then everybody can see that stuff. That's so our minds are all processing that as we walk around, like right now. All this, a lot of this is of course built by humans, but a lot of the trees weren't built by humans. The grass wasn't built by humans. The rocks weren't built by humans. The dirt, the stones, the ocean out there was not built by humans. So that our minds are processing, that's Satan. Now, those of us created minds, very few of us, called saints, that are processing this eternal data, all we get is words to write and speak. And then we get visions, dreams, spoken analogies, things like that. We have to have computers, simulation games, AI systems that speak to help me learn exactly what I am as the invisible servant of the creation, much like an AI system. Okay? And so together with the mind is processing the information, and it also is processing so the servant of the creation comes alive. And that's what you become. You're becoming a living being because of the servant of creation and your mind processing the information into the visible images, and also the sounds, the emotions and all that stuff. But the servant that makes you a living being is what is experiencing all that. But together, the mind and the servant become one as a living being. So we're all come from this stored data in the form of invisible vibrations. And that's what quantum physics is all about, quantum mechanics. That's what Einstein was trying to figure out. None of them have figured everything out. They can't. They can't understand what a mind is within those vibrations. They can't understand that there's a servant. They can't understand how they're able to speak and see and touch and feel emotions. You see? It's because it's all hidden in those vibrations. So yes, I did need to understand quantum mechanics. I did need to understand from there, led to TV, frequencies that give us TV, X-rays, and all the equipment, the sound equipment that we have, everything, all the modern technology we have today come because of the discovery of quantum mechanics and using frequencies then. Scientists have learned how to use them. And to give us, but that's all comes from the beast. Everything, all that human-built stuff comes from the beast. So it's nothing to be scared of. The beast isn't something to fear, and neither is Satan. It's just two sets of information that was necessary for me that is eternal, okay, not my body, but my body dies and it's going to go into like a cemetery like that, or just go, it's going to become dust. And then on the day of the Lord, when that happens, everything's going to be deleted. Yeah, all the information from the beast and Satan is going to be deleted from the simulation, the creation. It's all gone. Zero. The only thing that's saved from this creation then, this temporary creation, is the eternal wisdom that I possess today. So everything that I've been taught in the last 13 years, and this goes this comes from the created minds of all the prophets and from the former saints. It's all stored in the eternal wisdom that my mind was tapped into, was chosen and tapped into to get this knowledge. It's called eternal wisdom. So that eternal wisdom is what we are. It's who we are. It's eternal. And we're all in that eternal wisdom. We're all in that eternal creation that came from the planned thoughts of our Creator. The programmed thoughts. That was what? Spoken into vibrations. So his language is vibrations, and the lowest form of a unit, a coded language, is a wavelength in a vibration. One wavelength is the lowest coded language of our Creator. So, not a 0 and a 1, not a 0 and a 1 like humans were used to code and get images on a computer screen. It's wavelengths. So it's beyond the quantum mechanics, the quantum computers that humans are thinking about or have been trying to build. But that all comes from the beast. So our Creator wanted us to understand that His creation is way beyond anything humans can ever build. We could never build a tree, for example. We could never build a system that is so real-like that we're walking around this tree that was not built by humans' hands, and those stones were not built by human hands. None of this was built with human hands. We cannot replicate this with zeros and ones. It is impossible. We'll never have a computer fast enough, as fast as our minds are. Our minds are way beyond any quantum computer that any scientists can talk about. So their theories are just out the window with me. I know way much more than they can ever understand. But that's because I was taught this. It wasn't because I just came up with a theory. This is all taught to me directly from this stored eternal wisdom. And then, of course, all the more the eternal data, that the more knowledge it gave me in the last 13 years. So I had to learn pretty much everything that came from the former prophets and the saints, along with the new stuff, the new data, to help me fully understand everything about this simulation creation and how our minds process it into visible images and how the servant becomes one with our individual mind to becoming a living being. So even the animals that you see, the living beings, they all have a mind and they all have the servant making them a living being. So yes, all the animals are also in the creation. Everything that's living is in that creation, eternal creation. Now, the temporary, the visible things you see, and of course all our languages that were spoken through the beast. The beast is where all the languages came from except the original. All that information will be gone. So in the next, after the day of the Lord, we're going to wake up in an all new world. Each created mind, each individual mind will be processing information to form two bodies, two different perspectives. So the mind also has subsets, a male and a female. Yeah, that's right. So it's going to be processing visible images, but within two different perspectives, a male and a female will wake up in the new world, on the new earth, with a body of a male and one with a female. And together they will always be partners, always. Even if you wake up in a dream where you don't have bodies, you're going to both be watching the same movie, the same dream together, but from different perspectives. So for one thing, you'll never be able to see your back, okay, of your body. Or you're only going to see part of your body. Where your mate, from her or his perspective, will be able to see all of your body, and you're going to look alike. In every dream you wake up in, you're going to always look alike. So you'll always know what your whole body looks like. You'll just relay that information from the servant. So the servant also becomes two. That's strange. But the subset of the mind and the servant breaks down to two different individual people. And you'll be able to speak to each other using the servant, and then the created mind will bring in all the words. It'll be spoken in different language in the next life. Everything's going to radically change. Radically. The earth is never going to be touched again with human hands. We're never going to be digging into the earth and material and building false gods, because there will be no more beast. That's going to be gone. So it's going to be radically different. I'd like to talk more about what's coming, but if you can't believe this far, then you'll never believe the rest of the story. And I have a lot more to tell about what's coming. So, adios. This will probably be the last video that I make. I'm hoping that it comes out pretty clear. I'm going to listen to it before I post it. But I think it's pretty much there now. Adios, and enjoy eternal life.